The Israel-Palestine conflict is one of the oldest and most complex disputes in the world. It dates back to the early 20th century when Jewish and Arab nationalism began to rise. Both groups sought to establish their own nation-state, leading to tensions. The conflict intensified with the end of World War I and the fall of the Ottoman Empire. The British took control of Palestine under a mandate from the League of Nations. The establishment of Israel in 1948 was a pivotal moment in the Israel-Palestine conflict. The United Nations proposed partitioning Palestine into Jewish and Arab states. Jewish leaders accepted the plan, but Arab leaders rejected it. This led to conflict. On May 14, 1948, Israel declared independence. The following day, neighboring Arab countries, including Egypt, Jordan, Syria, and Iraq, invaded Israel. This marked the beginning of the 1948 Arab-Israeli War. The war lasted for over a year and resulted in significant territorial changes. The war ended with armistice agreements, but no formal peace treaties. Israel controlled more territory than originally proposed in the UN partition plan. This included large areas that were to be part of the Arab state. Hundreds of thousands of Palestinians were displaced, creating a large refugee population. The 1948 war left deep wounds and set the stage for future conflicts. The Arab states refused to recognize Israel, and Palestinians continued to seek a homeland. The consequences of the war still resonate in the region today. The Palestinian Nakba, meaning catastrophe in Arabic, refers to the mass displacement of Palestinians during the 1948 Arab-Israeli War. Around 750,000 Palestinians fled or were expelled from their homes. They sought refuge in neighboring Arab countries and other parts of Palestine. The Nakba is a central event in Palestinian history. It represents loss, displacement, and the ongoing struggle for statehood. Many Palestinian villages were destroyed and properties were confiscated. Refugees were placed in camps where some families have lived for generations. The plight of Palestinian refugees remains unresolved. They have not been allowed to return to their homes or receive compensation. This issue is one of the core disputes in the Israel-Palestine conflict. It affects peace negotiations and influences the policies of both sides. The memory of the Nakba continues to shape Palestinian identity and politics. It fuels a sense of injustice and resistance against Israeli policies. Understanding the Nakba is essential to grasping the depth of the Israel-Palestine conflict and its emotional impact on Palestinians.
Hamas, an Islamist militant group, emerged during the First Intifada in the late 1980s. The First Intifada was a Palestinian uprising against Israeli occupation of the West Bank and Gaza Strip. It began in 1987 and lasted until 1993. The uprising was characterized by protests, strikes, and violence.
Hamas was founded in 1987 as an offshoot of the Muslim Brotherhood. Its name means Islamic Resistance Movement. Hamas combined Palestinian nationalism with Islamism. It rejected the existence of Israel and sought the liberation of all Palestinian territories.
Hamas gained support through its social services and resistance activities. The group provided education, healthcare, and welfare services in Gaza. It also carried out attacks against Israeli targets, including suicide bombings. This dual approach helped Hamas build a strong base of support among Palestinians.
The rise of Hamas introduced a new dynamic to the Israel-Palestine conflict. It challenged the secular Palestinian leadership of the Palestine Liberation Organization, or PLO. Hamas's rejection of negotiations with Israel and its use of violence complicated peace efforts. The group remains a significant player in the conflict today. Major conflicts between Israel and Hamas. The conflict between Israel and Hamas has seen several major escalations. The 2008 to 2009 Gaza War, known as Operation Cast Lead, was significant. Israel launched it in response to rocket fire from Gaza. In 2012, Operation Pillar of Defense lasted about a week. The 2014 Gaza War, or Operation Protective Edge, was the most destructive. These conflicts have had severe humanitarian impacts. Each conflict leaves lasting scars on both sides. Section 6. The core issues fueling the conflict. Several core issues fuel the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas. One of the main issues is the status of Jerusalem. Both Israelis and Palestinians claim Jerusalem as their capital. Control over Jerusalem remains a highly contentious issue. Another critical issue is the Gaza blockade. The blockade aims to prevent arms smuggling to Hamas, but has also led to severe humanitarian conditions in Gaza. Finally, the expansion of Israeli settlements in the West Bank fuels the conflict. The expansion of settlements is seen as a violation of international law and a barrier to the two-state solution. Section 7. International perspectives on the conflict. The international community has diverse perspectives on the Israel-Palestine conflict. The United States has traditionally supported Israel, providing military aid and diplomatic backing. However, there have been calls within the United States for a more balanced approach that considers Palestinian rights.
The European Union supports a two-state solution and has criticized Israeli settlements. Some EU countries recognize Palestine as a state, while others do not. The EU also provides significant humanitarian aid to Palestinians.
Arab countries have historically supported the Palestinian cause. However, recent years have seen a shift, with some Arab states normalizing relations with Israel. The Abraham Accords, brokered by the United States, saw the UAE, Bahrain, Sudan and Morocco establish ties with Israel. This has affected the dynamics of the conflict.
The United Nations has passed numerous resolutions on the conflict, calling for an end to the occupation and respect for human rights. However, achieving a consensus on concrete actions has been challenging. The international community remains divided on how best to address the conflict and support a peaceful resolution.
Section 8. The global humanitarian response. The humanitarian situation in Gaza is dire and the global response has been significant. Numerous international organizations provide aid to Palestinians. UNRWA, the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, plays a crucial role in delivering education, healthcare and emergency relief to Palestinian refugees.
Humanitarian organizations like the Red Cross and various NGOs also work in Gaza, providing essential services and support. They face challenges due to the blockade, security concerns, and limited funding. Despite these obstacles, they continue to assist those in need.
International donors, including the EU, the United States, and Arab countries, contribute to humanitarian efforts. However, funding shortfalls and political constraints often limit the effectiveness of aid programs.
The humanitarian response is essential for alleviating suffering, but it is not a substitute for a political solution. The global humanitarian response highlights the urgent need for a resolution to the conflict. Addressing the root causes of the crisis and ensuring the protection of civilians are critical for improving the humanitarian situation in Gaza and achieving lasting peace.
Section 9. The future of the conflict. The future of the Israel-Palestine conflict remains uncertain. The situation is marked by deep-seated mistrust, periodic violence and failed peace efforts. Both Israelis and Palestinians face significant challenges in achieving a lasting resolution. Political divisions within the Palestinian leadership complicate the path to peace. Hamas controls Gaza, while the Palestinian Authority governs parts of the West Bank. Reconciliation between these factions is crucial for presenting a united front in negotiations with Israel. On the Israeli side, political shifts and security concerns influence policy decisions. The expansion of settlements and security measures in response to violence further complicate the prospects for peace. Israeli society is also divided on how to approach the conflict. International involvement is essential for facilitating a resolution. Diplomatic efforts need to address the core issues and support confidence-building measures. The future of the conflict depends on the willingness of both sides to compromise and the sustained engagement of the international community. Section 10. Potential paths to peace. Achieving peace in the Israel-Palestine conflict requires addressing the core issues and building trust between the parties. One potential path is the two-state solution, which envisions an independent Palestinian state alongside Israel. This solution has broad international support, but faces significant obstacles. Another approach is a confederation, where Israelis and Palestinians share certain functions while maintaining their own political structures. This model could address some of the complexities of sovereignty and control over shared resources. Grassroots initiatives and people-to-people programs are also vital for fostering understanding and reconciliation. Building relationships at the community level can help reduce tensions and create a foundation for peace. Ultimately, a sustainable peace requires strong political will, compromise, and international support. Addressing humanitarian needs, ensuring human rights, and promoting dialogue are essential steps. The path to peace is challenging, but it is possible with concerted efforts from all stakeholders.